minutes early. Okay, now we're on.
No, we're 2 minutes early.
Oh, we're 2 minutes early.
Okay, you want to get your stuff on here so you can check if we're on?
Sure.
Okay.
Hello, people. All of our peeps. Hello.
Let's see. There's people watching.
There's a people.
Someone's early. So I will try and... I was getting nervous here because my wife
We were driving back. I didn't have my phone, so.
didn't have a phone with her and was driving back from the store, and I don't know how to get online without my wife. It's one of those things, the complication of being device
Challenged.
technology challenged. All right, so
That's Alyssa. Okay.
there we go. Honey Collins is watching. Susie is on. There's a couple of more faces. Oh, not faces. Eyes. I see eyes.
Yeah.
All right. So, are there any questions? Are there any questions? My wife will be producing this show. So
I might just go run and get water, though. I'm very thirsty.
She's got Colin de Kock is there. Hi, Colin. All right, so we're just waiting for everyone to get online. I know I was on
A few minutes
2
early.
minutes early, so
Okay, then I will.
my wife's going to get a glass of water while we wait for everyone else to join. Watching faces. So I should show you our house. But it's too scary. We are packing, and we will be moving on Wednesday. So by Thursday we have to be in the new place, and so you can imagine if we're moving on Wednesday what the house looks like. It is it's crazy. I just came in from the garage a little while ago because that is the scariest place for me. It's where everything gets stored that you said you're going to get to, and then you just don't get to it. How many of you can say you have a garage full of things, that boxes and other things that you said, I'm going to get to it one day, and let's just put it in the garage? Well, that's our life story. We've been doing that for a couple of moves. Fortunately, every move we purge a little bit more and get rid of more stuff. But getting rid of stuff is not as difficult as going through all the stuff in the boxes and sorting through it and saying, what is it, and what do we do with it, and how do we sort it? And especially those sentimental things, and those pictures, and those photos, and those cards, and those old picture frames. And we've got a box of letters that we wrote to each other, because remember, we told you our story, those of you that watched this time, when we were courting, we never had
Email.
internet and emails and any of that. So we used to send each other aerograms, and that would take, those years our postal service worked a little bit better than it does nowadays, but still you couldn't be sure. But we took on average 2 weeks for a letter to get to you, and then if you reply straight away they take another 2 weeks, so it's a month before you hear back from the letter that you wrote. It's not as quick as it is today.
I can't say that name. Luce Rosan wanted to know, will youth be starting soon? So you can answer that.
Yeah, so as you can imagine, we have letters of those early years where we wrote back and forth to each other, and all those nice things. You don't want to get rid of them, but you have to pack them somewhere. And when you move to a smaller place, you run out of space to pack. In fact, we're moving to a house that's got a single garage, and yeah, that is going to be a test to see how soon we can get our car in the garage. Definitely not to start with. Okay, so was that Lachey?
Lachey, yeah, I'm assuming that's how you say.
Lachey, it's Lachey Sabotka. If you were in any of our gatherings, Lachey, today or last week, you would have heard me speak about where we're going and how things are going to change in terms of not functioning as an institution, but as a family. Now, of course, this is going to be a transition and a gradual change, but essentially, it's not like we're going to close down all ministries, but we're certainly not going to run ministry departments. What that means is those youth and young people that are family will gather and gather as is appropriate. How they want to gather, when they want to gather. They'll gather as a family, and they'll gather as those that celebrate life together and encourage one another. When exactly that's going to happen, well, it's up to the young people. I think there's no reason why they can't gather now. You can gather up to 250 in a venue that has a capacity of 500. So if the youth meet in a venue that has got a capacity of 300, you can meet 150. Yeah, it's just how you want to meet and how you want to do it in an appropriate way. Of course, social distancing is a difficult thing for young people. I know my daughter, when she meets her friends, it's like social distancing is not a big priority. But then again, it's not that we are fearful of young people being affected by COVID-19. We know it's not really something that affects young people hardly ever. But of course, there's always the concern of others. Are they carriers? Can they carry the virus and transmit it and pass it on to others? So we've got to be careful in terms of not just how we do it, but how people think we do it, because very often that is as dangerous as anything else. When people think you are violating, and they get suspicious and want to report you. So the gathering of the young people, you can gather as you want in your natural relationships and friendship circles. Start forming groups that encourage one another, and every now and then I see no reason why they can't be gathering as suitable. Friday nights or whatever, we do have a facility and they can do it. So Lucia, I'm going to get, I'm not sure what age you are, if you youth or young adults. So that's past Charles, I would think. You said youth, eh? Young people. What was the question? Young people? Youth?
Yeah, youth.
Youth. So we'll ask Charles what the plans are for the youth, and make sure that we communicate that to you. Sorry, I don't have too many answers, but in the general, let me say that because there was a question also after last Sunday, when some comment I made, and then someone asked, are we going to close all the ministry departments straight away? Because I said that we're not going to be doing ministry departments as in an institution. We're going to be doing family, and where there's natural relationships, young people want to do things together. So this pertains to the women as well. We don't need a woman's ministry. A woman have a relationship with each other, want to get together, want to arrange things, and they get together. They just do it. You don't need to ask permission. You don't need to report to someone to say, can we get together? Can we do this? And can we arrange this? We just do it. Just be family, and don't necessarily have departments and reports. And so that's where we're moving. It'll take a little bit of time to start thinking non-institutional and start thinking family, and we just make the arrangements and do it and be family. Okay, what?
Jackie
It was good to see you today, Jackie.
Will the full transition be outlined over the next few weeks? I'm very curious to know how exactly this will happen.
Yeah, Jackie, I'm in a bit of a tight spot. I'm always going to be in trouble no matter what I do. So for some people will want me to say, okay, what's it going to look like? Because that's the vision, the visionary and vision casting. What's it going to look like? That's your responsibility. And then when I do say what it's going to look like, others get nervous because we've not finalized any of those things, and they say, how can you be talking about things that haven't been finalized? So what I can say is what is in my heart and what is in my spirit, that we're going there. We are going there, and we are going to transition out of being an institution and function as a family. There are some details that have to be worked out in terms of how that's going to look, to take everyone on the journey that wants to be on the journey. So we don't want to have casualties. We don't want to unnecessarily leave anyone behind. Of course, as I said today and last week, you're free. If you don't want to go on the journey, you're free. But for those who want to go on the journey or simply don't understand or need some more time to work things through and process it, we know there's some people that are early adapters and some people that are late adapters, and we want to explain things and speak about things and take it step by step. So some of these things, I can't tell you exactly how it's going to look and when it's going to get there, because there has to be some detail worked out. I got a fairly good idea of how family looks, because it's not organizational, it's organic, it's relational. So but to tell you exactly how the process is going to look and all the things involved in the process is going to be difficult, because there's some things that need to be ironed out. For instance, we spoke about I spoke about today and last week of how I want to lead the process of taking everything that is the family and the transactions of the family and the relationships of the family and the business of the family, take it out of Lighthouse Christian Center as an institution. So what will remain in what is called Lighthouse Christian Center will be simply the facility, the building. And there won't be transactions of the family going in and out. So that'll be a dormant company, so to speak, with a facility in it. All the activity, all the relationships, all the transactions will happen outside of LCC, out of Lighthouse Christian Center, within the family. So we can still call the building Lighthouse Christian Center, but I won't be referring to the family and the relationships of the body of Christ as Lighthouse Christian Center. That is certainly not the body. That's not the family. That is that company in which there'll be the asset of the building or the facility of the building. We can call the facility in the center and the place in which we meet, if we meet in that building, Lighthouse Christian Center. So that transition will take time because, of course, as we said, there's staff involved, and the staff is a major component of the finances that's flowing in and out of the institution. The institution right now is paying those salaries. So those transactions, it'll take a while for us to transition out of that. So I can't tell you how quick it's going to be when it's all said and done. Those transactions will no longer be taking place in the institution, and that takes a process to help all those staff members and all of those that are currently employed in the institution of Lighthouse Christian Center to find where the Lord's leading them in this. Are they going to go and start their own businesses? Are they going to be entrepreneurial in businesses? Are they going to function in a family business, managing the events and the property of Lighthouse Christian Center? Or are they going to function in a family like I am as a father? Those things will be processes. As I said also today and last week, that I'll be the first to leave the institution in terms of being salaried. I know the Lord's spoken to us, and we don't know what it's going to look like. I wish I could tell you what it's going to look like, Jackie. I wish I could tell you what it's going to look like. But I can tell you it's going to be good. But the soul is scary. It's a scary thing because there's no certainty of, except that God says it's going to be okay. But you don't have the picture to say, okay, I've got all these things figured out, and there it is, and there's the evidence, and now we can do it. It's not going to be like that. We're going to have to trust the Lord as we go, and that's part of the journey, seeing that we not only can trust the Lord, but that He will never put to shame those who trust Him when He says, do something, and you do it. So, it would have been nice to be able to say what it looks like, because then we wouldn't probably need faith. We just know, oh, that's how it's going to be, so we don't need faith for it. But this is going to be a journey of faith for all of us. Trusting the Lord. Lord, we know that you are able, and we know that you're in control, and we know that you'll take care of it. So we're just going to do what you tell us to do and trust that those other things you'll take care of. Now, that's going to be a nice journey of faith.
Yeah, it's scary.
And
it's good.
Yeah, I know I didn't answer your question, Jackie, but some of these things, of course, if I try and say it's going to look like this, without some of the processes having been finalized, we were working with the board of directors, for instance, in working through some of these processes of the transition. And once we've decided on that, and we've set some timelines, we can give more clarity of how exactly and when, in terms of timelines. So
It's just that's picking up on the phone.
what?
You were playing.
Oh,
with the
I'm
pen.
playing with the pen, and my wife took it out of my hand. What have you got to say, baby?
No, absolutely nothing.
No, say something.
Hi.
Hi. So,
Oh, there goes the coffee machine.
if this is of course, I mean, it's the journey of trusting the Lord, even in uncertainty of a transition, means for me as the father that's supposed to be the provider in the family, it's a process that is nerve-wracking, but in a different way as the wife, the one that wants to know that you got security and a nest and things like that. When that's uncertain, it takes a different kind of character to trust the Lord. So for both of us, it's a journey.
Jackie says, thanks, Pastor.
It's wonderful to be doing that journey together. I wouldn't be able to do this if Charlotte didn't hear from the Lord. and have a certainty in her spirit that this is what the Lord's saying.
Jackie just said thank you. That was good enough. So
Yes, so Charles, yes, it is Joseph Charles, not Charles, Joseph, sorry, I just saw the name there. Joseph, watching from Oudtshoorn. Nice to have you join us every time, Joseph. You're right, it is Charlotte's birthday coming up on Tuesday.
Yep.
In the middle of the Groot Trek. So we are moving, as I said, on Wednesday. So the last final push of getting everything ready is obviously going to be
tomorrow.
Running into Charlotte's birthday, which is not ideal. We hope to try and get most everything sorted by tomorrow, end of day, so that she can have a bit more of a stress-free birthday.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's going to be older than me for the next 2 months.
2 months and 3 days. Yeah.
That's her, older than me. Well, she's always older than me, but she's going to be a different age to what I am for 2 months. It's always that way. She was in her 50s when I was still in my 40s. So that's how it works.
I just misspelled Monique Williams' last name. I'm sorry. That was bad.
She just looks that young and I look this wrinkled, but that's okay. It's character lines. It's character lines. Are there more questions?
Nope.
What says people? Is no one talking?
No, absolutely no new messages.
Yeah, come on. Vra my
Come
vraag.
on.
So, for those of you that are interested, come on, I'm inviting questions. While you are thinking of questions and asking questions, I'm going to tell you something of our story in terms of our move. So,
Are you sure they want to hear that?
no, well, one of the first things, I mentioned this before, did I? I think one of the first things
I'm sure you
that
have.
Sam said when he arrived at the airport, that word he brought to Lighthouse, and particularly to the colored community, the colored people, was a very specific word that he came with, a prophetic word, and said, you've always been told that you are neither white nor black. And the Lord is saying that you are both white and black. And the Lord destroyed that lie of identity, finding identity or lack of identity, being told by others you have no identity. And the Lord showed in the natural that the colored people have an identity in both that which is black and that which is white.
I think that's kind of special.
And that the Lord would use that as part of his reconciliation, because the colored people are the prime candidates to be agents of reconciliation, because they are of both. They're not of neither.
If you think about it, the colored people are actually a walking, living testimony of reconciliation carried within them. So living that out is a beautiful, beautiful testimony of who God is through the colored people. So, I mean, that's pretty freaking awesome.
So, when Sam arrived at the airport, he had that word. But for me personally, he had a word that he shared while we were still walking out of the airport. We were still at the airport when he started sharing this. And he reminded me of my ancestry. And he reminded me of what was in my loins, so to speak, and where I came from. That I was a descendant of the Huguenots. So I have an interesting family history, and all of it is in this road between where we live right now and where we're moving to. All of it, all of my family history, and the beginning part of it has its start there. And so what happened, just to put it in a quick nutshell, the origin of the Snyman family came from this first registered slave woman to South Africa. She arrived just 5 years after Jan van Riebeck, 1657. She was a washwoman in the castle while van Riebeck was there, and she had a son with a German soldier, and he was sent to Robben Island for sleeping with in the servants' quarters. So my ancestry was one of the first prisoners on Robben Island. He never married Katerina, that was her name, this slave woman from India, from Pulicat in India. Via Batavia, she came as a slave woman. So he never married her. She married a Bengalese man, one of the first free black men to own land was Anthony of Bengal. So he adopted Christoffel, this boy. And a couple of years later, when Christoffel was 13, all of the family died, I think of smallpox or something. All of them died. Only Christoffel survived. And he went to go and live with his aunt on a farm right here down the road in just outside Franschhoek, in really the Simondium Franschhoek area. And he ended up marrying a girl just a few farms down in what's now called Vredenlust. The first owner of Vredenlust was this Huguenot, and his daughter Margot married Christoffel Snyman, and so that's where the first Snymans came from. And Christoffel was the second owner of the farm that's now known as Salms Delta, which is just also between Paul and Franschhoek. And so my whole family history is here. And Sam reminded me of the richness of the heritage of the Huguenots that brought the purest form of the gospel at that stage in the earth to Africa. And reminded me that I am to pioneer, I am to bring the purity of the word that God brings through me to this region of Africa, and to be a pioneer and to forge ahead. And so just so happened on that first visit, we went to Franschhoek, and that's where I had my discussion with Sam about being a spiritual father to me. So Franschhoek has got this special place in our relationship and in our family history, and Sam reminding me of that pioneering history that the Lord is stirring up in me, and saying I'm to continue pioneering, so to speak. And as you all know, Charlotte's going to be recording an album in the next few weeks. She's going into studio, and it just so happened the original producer changed, and we met a lovely guy who's going to be the producer of the album, Stefan Kluter, and lovely guy, but also Stefan Kluter. And then the recording studio changed with the new producer, and it changed from, it would have been in Tilbach to Franschhoek. So we're recording, Charlotte's going to be doing her recording in a studio in Franschhoek. And then we couldn't find a house in Paarl anywhere, just nothing we could find that suited us, nothing opened up. And just one day, it just stirred in me, why not Franschhoek? And so something opened up straight away. We miraculously qualified for it, miraculously. And we're moving to Franschhoek. So we know that the Lord has, in His season, sometimes even in the shadow and types and the things that point towards that which is true in the Spirit. So we're not excited to move. We're not excited to have to pack up, and that's never exciting. But we're excited for the season ahead, when the Lord in this season says, resign from Lighthouse Christian Center, resign from being salaried as a staff, step out in faith in this thing that God is stirring in my spirit. And with that, the move is to Franschhoek. So it's quite interesting.
PJ just said Isaiah 43:19 was popping in my device every time I opened the Bible app, and that was before the pandemic, and now I know what God was trying to tell me, and I just needed more wisdom to understand what He really meant, but now it all makes sense. And the scripture was, behold, I'm about to do something new. Even now it is coming. Do you not see it? Indeed, I will make a way in the wilderness and streams in the desert. So that's what she said.
Yeah. And if you were in the meeting today, I spoke a little bit about it. I don't know which session, but probably
One or
both.
two.
there's going to be a lot of shaking in the earth. The earth is going to be in turmoil. The systems, global systems of control of the beast, the system of Antichrist, that which is against Christ, is going to arise and emerge in the earth, in all systems that will control and will wage war against the saints. It's going to be, for those who are not led by the Spirit, those who don't live by economy of grace, it's going to be a terrible, terrible, terrible time. But for those who are in Christ and those who live by a different economy of grace, it's literally going to be the streams in the desert.
Yeah.
We're going to operate when everything else is dry and dying around us. There's going to be economy of grace available to those who are in Christ. And what I didn't say today in the message, when I was talking about God leading Israel out of Egypt and doing it in the form of family, putting them in camps of family, under families and households and clans and tribes and camp to form a holy nation. What I didn't say is that, and I spoke to one brother afterwards in a comment, that God removed the ability of Israel to take care of themselves. They couldn't plant and harvest crops. They couldn't take their cattle and herd them. They couldn't live off the sweat of their brow. They couldn't make things happen to sustain themselves and feed themselves and take care of themselves. God removed from them the ability to do it so that they can learn to trust in God and see that He is able to provide for them. And even in this time, we're not going to be able to do it in our own strength. It's going to be streams in the desert, but it's going to be because we are totally learning to operate by a different economy and trusting in God. Faith towards God is what's going to make the difference for us. Nothing that we're going to be able to do in our own strength. So it's a very exciting time ahead. For those who are not in Christ, it's going to be a terrible, 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 terrible time ahead. But for us, God is raising up a standard. This corporate son is being birthed in a way. The corporate son that will accurately represent God has been birthed in the earth now, and it comes with labor pains, it comes with shakings, it comes with all these things. But God said it must happen. These things must happen, and it's so exciting to be alive in this time. What do you say?
No, nothing.
Wat is daar?
No, people are
Wie
just...
praat met ons?
PJ was just saying, she was not excited to move from Cape Town to KZN, but it's all God's will. And then Joseph Charles just said, I always thought the power, principles, and forces of evil is at work on the earth, but Satan, the chief, is in heaven accusing us, the brethren, day and night, right before the throne of God. And then Megan says, teaching us total dependency and trust in God. And Hazel says, hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone, Hazel. So, yeah, Megan, that's actually much of the journey. Sometimes you want things from God that you want. And you want things to go your way because you've planned it that way. And God will allow the rug, so to speak, to be pulled out from under our feet. Our ability to depend on our own ability to make it happen. God will remove from us even our ability to make it happen, so that we go on this journey of learning to trust in God. And so this is what God is teaching us a total dependence and trust in God. Because in these times that lie ahead, that's the only way we're going to be able to live. It becomes the economy. It becomes the norm. The only way and the default way that we are going to live is going to be in total dependence and trust in God. And He will cause us to flourish like streams in the desert. Absolutely.
I do have to say, I mean, we should be seasoned movers by now. And I should definitely be, because, I mean, this is nothing new to me. I mean, I grew up moving all the time, 9 months to 2 years. So, and I think my biggest thing, though, when we got married, when we started having kids, and it was like, Lord, I want my kids to at least go to the same you know, primary school, elementary school, straight through primary school, and then the same high school. So I'm actually happy that the Lord has let us have that for our kids. I mean, and it is a little bit of an upheaval for Alyssa, but she's actually so happy. She's been pretty pleasant. I mean, she's got her moody days, but you know, that's a teenager. But she's actually handling it really well. She's excited about the move. I know Franschhoek is far. it's far from a lot of things, but
So tell them how to say the name of the town,
gosh.
because some of us say it incorrectly,
yeah, I was saying Franschhoek.
as in France,
Yeah.
because it's the French and the France, but it's not Franschhoek, it's Franch.
Franch,
Hook.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
The
got a
locals told me,
CH
I got
and then
schooled.
another H. So you
Franch.
spell it with a
Franschhoek.
SCH
Yeah.
H, so it's a double H.
Yeah,
Franschhoek.
Franschhoek.
Yeah, understand, nee?
Yeah, so, but I'm trying to figure out how many people live there because the
Not
last,
many.
well, the last population consensus was 2011 and it said there was 17,256 or something like that. And so I'm hoping that, you know, since 2011, there's been a little bit of a population boom.
Well, since then, Paul has become
Maybe
a city.
20,000.
Paul is, since then, officially now is a city, hey? So Paul has got big. Paul's
Yeah.
really big.
192,000 is.
I don't know what it is.
No, I do, 'cause I
Okay,
Googled.
right now. But
Yeah.
Franschhoek is klein. Baie klein, but it's mooi. Don't worry, I know it's far. When you come visit me, it's far, but for me, it's not terribly far. I do have an electric scooter, for those of you that don't know. So my commute, when I need to commute back and forth, is not a problem. I just plug it in the wall and charge it, and then I go. And I can go full 120 kilometers per hour on the N1. So it's not a problem. I'm able to get back and forth without worrying about the cost of fuel and all those things. But it's one of those seasons. It was looking for a while like we might be moving to Betty's Bay, because that was the container house. The only property that we own is a property in Betty's Bay that I'm building there with shipping containers.
Okay.
And so it looked like we might have had to move there if we didn't
Yeah.
find a place. But the Lord seems to have provided a place for us here, so we're happy.
Okay, Janita Moses Aronsa asks, one question for me. Regarding our older pensionable age or very close to that age, pastors or people on staff at LCC who may not be able to start a business or similar, will they be able to retire with a monthly pension or retirement annuity? Ooh, I'm glad I'm not answering that question.
Yes. So, who asked that?
Crud. Janita Moses Aronsa.
So, Janita, what has happened? It has been a law, a rule. It's been a rule. It's been a requirement for all those that joined on staff that they have a retirement plan in place. So we asked everyone to have a retirement annuity. And as the Lighthouse Christian Center, we contributed half of that payment. So whatever the retirement annuity was, we paid the other half. So it was expected that everyone make provision for their retirement with a retirement annuity. And so I think most everyone has made plans, and we've certainly helped them to make those plans, like I say, with the extra contribution. In the transition, which is interesting, but in the transition, it just so happens that in any case, 3 of our key pastoral staff are going to be retiring. Already Gerald and Carl are retired and are presently on a just a yearly contract, which can be negotiated. So in any case, they are retired, and by the end of the tax year, that's when they retire. So the end of Feb, they have and should have been making plans for their retirement for many years, and that time has come. In any case, for them. Also for Susie. Susie is in fact 65. And so her retirement will also come up the end of February. So for at least those senior ones that you're referring to, Beulah is already retired. She's on a contractual basis. And so all of those old ones that are either retired or close to retirement, to answer your question shortly, yes, they should have provisions. They should have been making provisions through retirement annuities. But for all of us, it's going to be a walk of faith. Whatever this new journey ahead holds, it's going to be a walk of faith for all of us. For all of us. Faith doesn't say you don't need it because you're young, or you don't need it because you're old. It's faith towards God. Remember, not faith for things, faith towards God. And God's taking every one of us on that journey. He's not allowing any of us. A son cannot mature if he doesn't have faith towards God. So God's taking us all on a journey of having to have faith towards God in our circumstances, in our situations. What are you saying?
Oh, no, I was responding to Susie.
Oh.
You were talking about the population. Hi, David Oblander.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
David.
David came on just a little bit earlier.
Well,
5 minutes ago.
David, good
3 minutes ago.
to see you or hear from you. You and so I've been rebuked. Megan rebuked me for calling people of 65 old. And sorry, the more senior members of our family that have reached what in our policies and procedures is the age of retirement, is 65 in our staff policies and procedures, and that has always been the standard at 65. It's retirement age. So not old, just more senior, older.
Janita says, thank you so much for the response. She says it's scary, but so real, trusting God on the journey forward. So,
yeah. So that's what the Lord is having for us. I mean, everyone's circumstances is different, right?
Yeah.
Each one that I'm talking to, you have very different circumstances to Charlotte and mine. But we all, because God is doing this stuff, God is doing this, we are all going to be brought to a place of having to trust in God. He's not going to allow us to live in a way that we don't have to trust in God. And if you think about it, much of what we've done all our life is try to secure for ourselves things and make it so that we wouldn't have to trust God. It's true. If we could have secured for ourselves to be in a position that we don't have to trust God, that would be kind of what we've been pursuing. God's not going to allow it. He wants us to have to trust Him. And when we do trust Him, we're going to see we live by a different economy. We're going to flourish, abounding over and above what we can think or imagine, but not because we are pursuing the things, but because we are pursuing God, pursuing His purpose for us in putting Him on display, and then He can entrust you with much more. You're faithful in the little, He can entrust you with much more in the stewardship of the affairs of the house. He will entrust the affairs of the house to those who have shown that they are faithful stewards. And you can't do it if you don't live with trust, faith towards God. My wife's giggling here. She's obviously sending people messages. I think she's having a chat with a friend. Yeah, Susie, you getting my wife in trouble.
I'm listening.
Yeah, I know you're having a chat. What are you, Susie, saying? So let's just.
No, it's in a whole thread with Susie, and so Susie says to Megan that Pastor B has an issue with age, and then she says Yania, and then Vanessa van Vollenhoven says, Pastor Susie, they're the wise and wonderful.
Yes.
And Susie says, I see the younger ones are aging fast and the elderly getting younger.
Yes. Yes. So we are at that age. When you get to 50, my dad says, it is the youth of
old age.
of the old people,
Yeah.
and it's the old people of the youth.
Yeah.
Yes. So when you're 50, to the seniors, you're the youth, and to the youth, you're the seniors.
Yeah.
So 50 is that place where we
Although when I was in my late 30s, 40s, Whatchamadoodle called me Tani, but I know that was respect. What's that?
you in your 30s or 40s.
Somewhere around there.
I'll tell you who Whatchamadoodle is. We were watching a rugby game.
It was
At
interschools.
Boys' High.
It was interschools.
Was it interschools?
It was interschools at Forest
Okay.
Street. Yeah.
We were watching interschools, and Charlotte happened to be sitting close to.
Zach was still in school.
Yeah, Zach was still playing.
He was still in school.
Charlotte was sitting close to Mornay du Plessis. Now, as many of you know, Mornay was the Springbok captain, but he's a good couple of years older than us. Yeah, I mean, he's getting there.
And he's tall. He's like really tall.
Yeah,
It's like,
and so
hi.
when he spoke to Charlotte, he called her Tani.
But I was in a group with the young boys, and he knew one of the young boys that was standing there.
So
they
that
were
was quite funny to have Mornay du Plessis, much older than us, obviously, calling my wife, who then.
I didn't have.
She always looks young.
I was dyeing my hair
looks
then,
good. Her
so
hair wasn't.
I didn't have
the gray wasn't
Yeah, you
coming
could
out.
see
So I
it.
mean, she looked like she was 20, but he called her Tani. So there we go.
But with the onset of the whole COVID thing, that was funny because you have your mask on, and then all you can see
All they
is
see is the gray. Then they let her go through in the seniors line where the people can go to the front of the line.
I'm like, and I tried to. I'm like, I'm not that age, and they're like, no, you must go forward. I'm like, but I'm not that age. And then people get mad because I'm like, and I'm like, I'm not that age,
So
but he's like, okay, what do you do?
Mine sticks out of the mask, and the guy the other day at the store called me Opa.
Yeah, he did. He kept calling you Opa. Hello, bye, Opa. You see, I was kidding.
So
that was
that's it.
funny.
Geliefdes, is lekker om saam met julle te praat. I will continue if there's questions. If not,
We'll just be goofy.
we will continue chatting and keeping updated. Remember, this is for a discussion for the family where we can just be face to face and ask questions. Others that are watching in might not understand all the stuff we talk about. That's fine. And if they judge me or judge others for not understanding, that's also their problem. But you need to be on the journey with us to understand much of what we're talking about. So I'm happy to sit and chat. But if there's no questions, we are going to do this on a weekly basis. I hope I have internet by the time we've moved next week. We'll be in the new house.
Yeah, we don't
Hopefully
know.
we'll have internet. If not, we'll make a plan and get to internet somewhere for the
Yeah.
AMA. But if not, we are going to be off packing. Are you ready to go pack, my baby?
I don't want to. I was actually a little bit annoyed with myself. And Alyssa's like, I know, Mom, you're not mad at me. I'm like, no, I wasn't mad at you. I said I was mad at me because I thought my kitchen is finally, everything is packed. And then I opened the bottom drawer and I was like, I forgot the Lucasette pot. So those are packed now. It's going to take 2 men or 3 men to pick that up because it's going to be
My garage is almost sorted. So we're getting there.
Yeah. So,
Now it's just everything else in the house. Lord help us. They say moving is one of the most stressful things. So divorce, death, and moving, those are some of the most stressful things in life. So we're not going to get divorced or death, so let's just experience this one. Go for it.
why would we get divorced? That's dumb. I'm not marrying another man. That's stupid.
And you'll never have to deal with that stress
What stress?
of divorce. But you'll have to do this stress of moving.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
all right.
I can deal with that.
So think of us as we get going with our packing, and remember, if you Lighthouse family, to register.
You know, we still have 15 minutes.
Yes, I know, but if there's no
Yeah,
question,
many
I'm happy to
crickets.
ask questions.
Maybe no one wants to ask anything.
We don't have to speak
Maybe
for
we're
a
just
full hour.
entertaining.
Remember, if you're part of our family, we're going to gather 2 sessions on a Sunday from now on.
Yes.
And you need to register for those. It's going to be kind of first come, first serve, and be a strict kind of, those who have registered will allow in, but register. We've already got the 2 weeks. We'll make the 2 weeks available so you can register for this week. And if you can't get, if it's full for this week, make sure you register for the next week then. But we will live stream at least the messages at 9 o'clock for the family. We're not trying to get followers. We are just wanting to communicate with the family and make it easy for everyone to...
Ooh.
Okay, look, what's it say?
Megan says, we girls looking forward to having high tea at Lou's Estate with you, Charlotte.
Okay, let's do.
You're not a girl.
Us guys, where can we... where's the guys? We'll find a place. Got lots of places.
Then you can ask Vincent and,
lots of places.
and other
Those
guys
who want to
come
come fellowship with me, I had some of my brothers come fellowship with me on Friday. Donovan Jacobs.
Yeah, I didn't see Donnie tonight.
And Vincent
Valentine. Yeah.
Remember, we had that one session with them one day that we put on our page. In any case, they came to visit and encourage me. Yeah, some of the crazy things the Lord is stirring in us to do and encouraging us to pursue it. So there you go. All right, beloved. So we're going to love you and leave you. We got to go pack. We're not going to go and sleep now. We've got lots of work to do, and we'll see you at the other side of this tunnel.
If you were wondering, my eye is fine, so don't worry
tell
about
them.
it.
Look at her. She's got a new lens, she's got a new eyeball.
No, my eyeball's not
No,
new.
new lens.
My lens is new.
Just a new lens. They
yeah.
literally
It's 15 minutes.
plop a whole new lens on her.
Yeah, well, they don't plop it.
And
they make little incisions, and then they fragment the
cataract.
The cataract, and kind of take that away, and then they insert the new lens. And they said it takes about 4 weeks for everything to settle, and a week or so for the lens
she's looking
to
good.
embed.
She can now go without glasses, and she can drive and do everything without glasses. So she's just getting used to adjusting. So that's her. Thanks for those that kept us in prayer. And is there anything else before I see anyone else? What do the guys do? Oh,
Hike.
Megan.
Ouch.
Franschhoek is known for a couple of things. And some of them guys like to do. Yes, we can go hiking, but it is a place, it's the culinary capital of South Africa. So there's more restaurants per capita than any other town in South Africa. And there's also nice places to drink coffee and other things that you might want to drink. It is also where they do the wine tram. So
it's so much fun.
There's lots of wine estates, and for those that don't drink wine, you can drink other things.
Yeah,
but
you can have juice.
Guys will find stuff to do in
There's
Franschhoek.
always something to do.
Dis verseker. So kom kuier. Let's make a date. When we moved into this house, we moved in on the Wednesday.
And Friday you had people.
And Friday we had like a family table gathering.
I wanted to kill them, but it's fine.
We won't do that again. But give us 3 days this time, not 2 days. Or come help us settle in. Alrighty. God bless you. They moved 11 times, Joseph says. Yeah. We getting close.
We're past that. Yeah. Just wait. It's
I thought it was 9.
No. Let's see. We have. Let's see. From the apartment, we went to the apartment in Thingy. This is over 30 years.
My wife's got to count it. We've moved almost as many times as you, Joseph.
No, it's the apartment. Then from there, we moved to the house in Protea Valley. Protea Valley went to Stellenberg. To the old Welgemoed. And from there, we stayed with mom and dad. Then we went to America and we stayed in the farmhouse. From there, we went to the apartment.
Stayed in a hotel for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. No, first the apartment, then the apartment to Alabama. We stayed in a hotel, then to our house. Then we stayed I already counted that. Then we stayed in that with thingy that was a drummer. Then we moved back here and we lived in Stellenberg. From Stellenberg, we went to the townhome. From the townhome to Heron Street. From Heron Street to Velgedacht to Mom and Dad's to Mendelssohn to Avalon to here, and now,
So they're 13.
yeah, Veldevie.
13.
I mean, to thingy.
There we go. We've moved
What's
13
to
times.
Franschhoek.
Okay.
Phew.
And the Lord's not done with us yet, so we definitely got to move at least one more time because this
Maybe
is not
two,
our
who
house.
knows?
We're renting it. Okay. That's it.
Yeah.
We're going to love you and leave you. It was so good to see so many of you over the last couple of weeks. I have to do all to restrain myself in social distancing, but it's going to get better. We're going to be more and more able to at least do... we don't have to do brotherly kisses, but we can do brotherly hugs. We can do safe distance hugs. Somehow we'll figure it out. Okay, so... thank you, Louisa. We appreciate it. God is good. Appreciate the love. And we're out of here.
Yep.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.